Hi, friends, and welcome everybody. I am so sorry for the trouble in getting you all over here, but it looks like people are managing to get to the new event. If you haven't been to a Teams Tips before, this is not the way we usually navigate. I did have a couple of people ask, what happened? What happened? Uh, Teams is doing a new feature in live events, which allows the live event to pop out in a new screen. And for whatever reason, something happened where as soon as I started the meeting, it ended the meeting. And if you're familiar with a Teams live event, once you start it, you can't stop it and you can't recover. So in order to resolve the issue, what we did is we quickly created another Teams live event. I emailed you all as quickly as possible, and it looks like we've got about a little over 50 people on now. So it looks like you made the migration. So thank you so much for your grace and patience. It is certainly not how we were anticipating starting today's session. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and share another slide with y'all. So for today, all of these topics that we're going to be covering are community-led, which means there's going to be a lot of content that we're covering, and I'm going to be jumping back and forth on screens. So give me just one moment to get this ready for you today. If you joined us previously, I'm gonna have to move this to a different screen. If you joined us previously at the OIT forum, I did a PowerPoint live session that a lot of people were really interested in. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today because we had a lot of requests asking for us to be able to, for you to be able to see PowerPoint live and how it started. So if you have your smartphone, go ahead and get it ready. I am going to pull the slides up here in just a second. Got to resume the session because it timed out with our transition over here. But if you get your phones out, I'm going to share this with you. Just one moment. Perfect. What you're going to need to do in order to join is you're going to want to go ahead and scan this QR code. I'm going to make it a big screen here just so that you all can see this. I'm going to be doing this with you behind the scenes here. So if you haven't done this before, you need to get your cell phone out and open up your camera like you're going to be taking a picture of my screen. Hold it in front of the black and white square. That's a QR code, and it's going to automatically pop up for you in Safari or Firefox or Edge or whatever it is that you do your browsing on. And so right now, I'm not showing that anybody's joined. So as soon as we get everybody scanning that QR code, it is going to make you authenticate into Microsoft. So you're going to need to sign in using your UTD email, your NetID, and password. I know the password's always the hardest part to remember. So if you can go ahead and do that, we're getting people joining. I love seeing that. And then it is going to also make you go through Duo and authenticate. So while you're scanning that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Oh, I already got some emojis. Isn't that fun? So wonderful. Okay, we're getting people joining. So I'm just going to chat with y'all here for a minute while we're getting people on there because I do want you to have access and to be able to join and interact with us in this session today. One of the neat features about PowerPoint Live is you see we're already getting a couple emojis at the bottom. Once you join on your phone, it offers live transcription as well as a way for you to interact. If you don't have a smartphone, it's okay. If I was, okay, wait, maybe I can be fast enough. I am. Let me make an announcement here in the chat. So if you haven't already navigated to the chat, I'll post a link there as well. So you can access it through your smartphone or through our chat by clicking on the link there. And it's looking like we're getting a lot of people that have joined. It looks, but we've got over 50 on the session now. So I know we still have a few people coming on, getting in there. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions or concerns coming in the chat, so I'm assuming that most people are able to get on. You can access it via our chat link too. And you can, yes, you can absolutely, somebody said they're using their iPad. Go for your iPad, that's great. So I wanted to call your attention today, y'all. I was really excited. Brian is on the production team with me too, so he's going to probably be shocked by this as well. Y'all, this is our 20th Teams Tips hosted since June. That is absolutely unreal. I cannot believe we have had the opportunity to come to you and be able to present with you all so many times. If you've missed it, we do have recordings for most of our previous sessions, so you can absolutely go back and rewatch. But it's been a number of opportunities for all of us to learn from different subject matter experts, to sharpen technical knowledge, and enjoy really fun PowerPoints. Okay, I just had to throw that one in there. The entire purpose of these sessions is to allow you the space to ask, to experiment, and to find value in the tools that have been designed to support you. But today's session is exciting for more than just its numeric significance. Today's session was created 100% from user questions that were submitted when you registered. We reviewed each and every question to compile topics that would assist in answering and meeting your needs. So Teams Tips enables you to have control. It's a means for you to control what you can control and enable you to have more bandwidth to focus on the priorities of your position. That said, I always like to clarify that in these sessions, we cover a lot of material, and I know we're already getting started late, so it may feel overwhelming because we're going to have to cover some things quickly. But I truly feel like the purpose of education is to create possibility. So today, we're going to highlight what technical options are even possible for you. There's a number of topics that we're going to be covering. And it's really easy to focus on negative thoughts, feeling limited or frustrated. Trust me, they were running through my head when the event started and then stopped. But I'm challenging you to focus this hour on positive thoughts, on possibilities of what you can do, not what you have to do or what you should do. So we have a tight schedule, and we're going to answer the majority of the topics that were requested. Some of them we weren't able to get to, so we'll have to follow up with those unique questions by emails. So looks like we've got, yay, little emojis going across the screen. That makes me so happy to see y'all interacting. I do want to also disclose, like I already mentioned, I'm going to jump back and forth between PowerPoint and screen sharing today. So bear with me if it takes just a minute to transition between each item, if it takes a couple of clicks on the back end to get you what you need to see. Some of these were best showed by PowerPoint, and some were best presented to you through live demo. Okay, so as I'm going through PowerPoint live here, feel free to use your phone, interact, have fun, or your tablet or your computer. But the whole point is to allow for you to be engaged. Oh boy. Okay, I don't know what the white screen was. There it is, yes. Okay, so to get to PowerPoint Live, just about everything that we're going to be talking about today, you're going to want to go to office.com. Go ahead and bookmark that page. You're going to use it for a lot of the resources because everything that's hosted online, will be the latest version, have the latest features, and will be supported. So if you want to go ahead and go to office.com, you can log in there using your NetID and password, and then from there, I've gone ahead and highlighted on the screen here in the very top left, you'll click on More Apps. And then from there, you can see that PowerPoint is listed there. So once you have that pulled up online, I'll walk through with you. So y'all can give me some emojis to let me know if you're following or not. But once you go to office.com online, then you can follow along on the PowerPoint here. When you have PowerPoint online, it is as simple as creating a blank presentation. Just select blank, and then that way you can start from scratch when you're presenting. And what you can do is in the top right-hand corner, you're going to select present. So I'm highlighting it here too on my screen. So yay. So when you select that drop down from present, you're going to select present live. That is all you have to do to have PowerPoint Live. It is as simple as selecting that. it automatically pulls that beginning screen that I just showed you that you used to scan your QR code that you used, and then it creates that link that I copied and posted in the chat. You don't have to do any of that. It's automatically done for you. So it's as simple as that. And PowerPoint Live, it allows you to interact. It offers live transcriptions. And then I was going to also show you, because I know people want to know this too. This screen is showing you the results from the PowerPoint Live I did at the OIT forum. It does provide you live feedback, so you can get ideas as to which slides worked well. And it gives you general responses, and you can see, my word, people were on fire using it at forum. We had over 6,000 responses in the event by just people pushing in emojis. So it's a really fun way to engage your audience. If you're a professor, it's a great way to engage your students and to let them interact with you and to see what they're understanding or doing well. You can ask specifically for hearts or thumbs up so that people will know and be able to follow exactly what you're saying. Okay. So give me some thumbs up if everybody kind of understood how to and where to find PowerPoint Live. We'll do this in live action here so that y'all can make sure you're understanding how to see it. Getting different responses. That's great. Okay. Well, it's as simple as going to office.com and going to the right and selecting PowerPoint Live. So if you can't follow along on your phone to do office.com, that's fine if you want to go ahead and do it on a different screen. I'm getting some feedback there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move forward to our next topic. If you notice that a lot of the events that we put together, we try to put together custom URLs, a way that makes it a shorter website so that you can easily navigate and figure out where you're going and what you need to do. I'm going to go through a little bit about the links that UT Dallas offers so that you can quickly and easily customize your links for your events, your activities, any of your sessions. And then I've brought in a subject matter expert from the Office of Research, Enrica Ziller. And if you have not met her, she is an absolute rock star. I think they do, Enrica, I think it was like 300 events a year, something that makes me feel like these 20 Teens Tips are just like chump change, because they are on fire with what they do and they have brilliant ideas of how to make sure that you can follow along and have that consistent messaging to make it easier for you. So I'm going to share with you kind of the behind the scenes. So you can create custom links. So UTD link and then slash whatever verbiage you would like behind that. You have the ability to do that on your own. It's part of the software and suites that UTD offers. So to do that, I've got the website here. It's just utd.link/login. And before you can log in, you do have to create an account. So I've got everything on this slide. Y'all, everything's being recorded today, so you can go back and rewatch, and I will share these with you. So if you don't follow all of these and remember them, I promise we'll get it to you afterwards. But you go in, you email and request an account. You'll be able to log in using your name and password. And once you're there, you're able to create your custom URLs. And what that does is it allows a redirect to a different website so that you can have a link that coordinates with your specific marketing. So for mine, I do a lot of /Teens Tips or /survey, but it just helps and allows you to have full control over that. So if you're familiar with Teams Live events, the URLs for these are just big, gnarly, ugly URLs, and they're not very easy to send. So you can have those be shortened through the UT Dallas links. So on this slide, it just shows you what the actual website looks like. You would put in your longer link here, and then you could navigate down to step 2. You can look and set specific names. So you pick what you want your link to be called. You pick what you would like it to state. You can determine if you want it to be a public or private. Perhaps you only have a few people that need to access that link. And then you can check the availability. If somebody's already used it, then they get it first, and you'll have to tweak your actual URL just slightly so that it can be still be yours, but not be one that's already in use. And it's quick as that. You literally press shorten, it'll create that link for you, and you will be absolutely set. Okay, so that is the basics of using it and getting started with it. But like I mentioned, Enrica is here, so she is going to take over and share a little bit about specific use cases for using these custom URLs.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That was a fantastic introduction. I hope I can live up to that. Yeah, we do a few events. We are a mighty team of 3, though, with two part-timers. So, anyways, we've done various events. So I just wanted to give everyone some examples of what we've done to see how these can be used. So this first slide is our Lab to Launch series. In the upper corner, you can see that we've got a link to the main registration site, which we use Eventbrite for. So we just went through and updated that consistently with the next session information. So it was one link as a drive to. Then for every session, we did a UTD link for the attendee link. Again, those are really big, gnarly, as Amanda put it, URLs. So this allowed us to shorten it and send that out. And then also after the Lab to Launch main presentation, we would have what we considered a booster session, what we titled for that. And it was, we transitioned from a Teams live event into a Teams meeting to allow attendees to turn on their cameras, turn on their microphones, and interact with the guest presenters one-on-one, or at least in a group discussion to have the conversation about entrepreneurship and research and how they come together. So we had a UTD.link for those as well. And so after every Lab to Launch session, we would go in and redirect that booster session link to the next Teams meeting booster session. So we just kind of kept rolling it to the next one and the next one. Next slide, please. The next example that I have is our poster competition. So we've just completed the second one. We did one over the summer that featured BBS, and the recent one we featured the EPS school. And this has a lot more examples in it. So we didn't require registration for that one. So research showcase info was kind of our main event homepage, and that was the Comic Calendar post. Then the live attendee link was just research showcase. If people wanted to sign up for reminders or updates, then that was research showcase reminder. Then of course we had judging happening for the first round, and we did live poll for the finals round, which is a whole nother fun topic that should come up soon, I think. And then we also did a YouTube playlist, research showcase playlist, of all the preliminary videos that the contestants submitted to be judged. And those are still active links, the playlist at least. So you could click through that and see their 5 to 7 minute video. There's a link to their poster on Open Science Framework. And there's also the announcement from the Dean of EPS, Dr. Jennifer Holmes, to announce the finalists. And then there's the finals round that was live. It's been edited down and should be on YouTube. Then the last example I have is from our new faculty research symposium that was also in October. And so we've got, I think there were 10 or 11 links that went to that. Uh-oh. That's okay.
I don't think I got your final example in here, Enrica. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I think that probably gives a pretty good explanation of the various ways that we've used it. So if anybody has questions, let me or Amanda know.
Thank you so much. I'm always so impressed with the way y'all have everything together, and it's just so neat and seamless. And it's a great way to just be able to have the one link and follow up with it and have easy access to that. So on the other side of UTD links, you're also able to see detailed reporting when you send out these links. So this is a really cool feature if you've been posting information places and you're wondering, okay, you know, what worked, what didn't, where should I focus my time or energy? But the links will actually break it down by how many people clicked your custom URL and where they came from. So I just attached a little snippet here. This one is also from Forum. It just gives you a quick synopsis as to what websites different people navigated from. And you can drill down even further on UTD links and see demographics as to what countries and places, cities that they're coming from to see your information. So I thought this was a really great resource that we wanted to be sure that you all knew about. Okay, let's see here. The next topic that we had, the community source topic, was audio sharing. That's always a big one, and Brian is going to be covering that topic for us.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Excited to be here for Teams Tips number 20. Like we're celebrating for sure. So, and our first Team Tips on Tuesday. I don't think that's a coincidence. A lot of T's in there. Anyway, so I'm going to talk a little bit about audio sharing. This is something we hear from folks pretty often. You know, that they're trying to do a Teams meeting or a live event, and they want to share, you know, a video, or they want to maybe start their live event with some music because they learned from Amanda, those kind of things. And so I want to just give a quick demo of some features when it comes to audio sharing in Teams. So give me just a second to get my screen shared up on here. And we'll do that. Maybe. That's not good.
Yeah, it's just black for me right now. It's very 2020.
Yes, it is indeed. All right, well, I'm going to talk, well, okay, I'm going to try to share again, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to show if it won't load here for me. When we're looking at our Teams sharing interface, so if you click that little option that says to share your, there we go, to share your screen. So that's this option right here in the corner up by lead, and this will be in the same place both for Teams meetings, and as Amanda mentioned, the new pop-out Teams meeting experience is now here for Teams live events as well, so you'll be able to do the same thing there. As soon as you click this share option, your sharing tray is going to appear here, and you'll see if you're on a Windows computer, Mac folks, I'll get to you in just a second, you'll see the option here to toggle to include your computer sound. So when you do this, you will have to make sure that your audio device for your computer is set to the same audio device that you're joined with to the Teams meeting. So if you're like me right now and you're not using your headset, you'll want to make sure that your audio device isn't also set to your headset. They have to match. And that'll share any sound from your computer. So this could be a video, it could be music that you're playing on your computer. Anything like that will then come through onto your Teams meeting or Teams live event. Now, if you're on a Mac, you are probably shaking your head at me right now because you don't have this feature. I will tell you that Microsoft is testing. They're in the final stages of testing Mac audio sharing. We are anticipating it be available before the end of the year. We don't have a solid date to provide to everybody yet. But know that Microsoft is working to provide that functionality very, very soon, and it will be in the exact same spot. So once that feature is made available, it will be in the same spot with include computer sound, and it'll share the sound from your Mac computer as well. Now I'm going to add one more piece to this that I didn't talk to Amanda about, but I'm going to just throw it in here anyway, and that's to change your noise audio suppression settings in Teams. This is another new feature that's available in Teams that allows you to control the level of audio suppression that's available inside the client. So if maybe you're like me and you have a dog at home, and that dog sometimes is barking. Teams has been working hard, Microsoft has been working hard to make sure that it is suppressing audio that you don't want heard in your meeting. So you'll see this in your Teams settings under devices. You'll see a new setting that has appeared that is called noise suppression. By default, this is set to auto. So this is automatically going to determine, that a dog is barking in the background, and it's going to suppress that audio so that only your voice is heard. Now you can change this to high or low. High will use more system resources to be able to compress, any noise suppression that you want to have there. Low obviously will allow more sounds that aren't someone's voice. And then you can turn this feature off completely, which means that it will not suppress any noise in the background, so it won't even attempt to do that. So we've actually done some preliminary testing with this, and it's pretty cool. It really does suppress a lot of the sounds that you might have, a crying child or a barking dog, those sort of things in the background that sometimes interrupt our meetings in this virtual world. So, Amanda?
I'm coming. Trying to click too many things at once. Sorry, y'all. I did disclaim that I am going to be clicking a lot, and it does use up a lot of my mental energy. So let me go ahead and pull up now what I wanted to share with you all, because I think the next thing that we have was OneDrive. Let's see here. Perfect. Got it right over here. And I, in advance, zoomed in. So hopefully it's something that everybody will be able to see. I'll go ahead and, I've got my screen shared. Now I'm sending it live so that you all can see it as well. So OneDrive is something that we had a lot of questions on from all of you, just understanding what it is, what it does. So first thing, I just want to explain a little bit that OneDrive is only it's online storage. It enables you to be able to securely store your files online and access them from just about anywhere. So you don't have to have everything saved to your desktop. If you're traveling, you could still log in and get important documents from any device. And by storing the files in the cloud, all of your documents are there. I do all of my files for work. So that's what I'm showing on screen right now is actually the documents that I put together for this meeting. So you are able to access them there and share them there. So I'm going to kind of walk through a little bit about this, and I'm going to get my cheat sheet up just so I don't forget to tell you all anything. Okay, so over on this side here is just your general navigation. What's the difference between Box and OneDrive? That's a good question. I'm already getting questions in. Let me run through this really quickly. OneDrive is part of office.com. So I didn't tell you how to get to there first, but I did say that most of these are going to be on office.com. So the same way we did the PowerPoint, if you go ahead and open up your apps, you'll be able to see a list of everything there, and you can select OneDrive. I just went ahead and had this open for y'all. So in your navigation, you're able to see all of your files, anything recent, anything that's been shared, and anything you may have moved into the trash. So what I love so much about OneDrive is the way that it connects to Teams. So right now I am on my personal team for marketing and communications that allows me to be able to see all of the documents that I have in Teams are also, they're connected to OneDrive. They're synced up together. So in my team, I have a special folder for all of my events, for all of my planning. So any of those files can be saved right there. So you'll see here is where you go if you're looking to upload a new file. There's all kinds of files that you can have on here. And that's why I chose this specific folder for you all, because it does show you such a variety of documents that you can have on here. I've got a number. So whatever you need, you just would upload it directly here. If you want a new one, it's here. If you're starting from scratch, you haven't already created it. And if you're looking for something that you already have made, maybe it's already on your desktop or it was shared to you by somebody else, Then you can select the upload button and either individually upload documents, or if you have a group of files already in a folder, you can upload the folder with everything in it there. And then the one question that we had asked a lot was then, how do you share this? How does it get out to other people? And the nice thing about creating these share links is you can embed a link in your email in order to share a document rather than attaching that document. And here's what makes that so spectacular. Anytime you make a change, like if you're a last minute person that is constantly updating slides, even 7 minutes before the presentation starts, you can upload them there, and anybody else that's on the presentation with you will get the latest version because it's all online. So when you send the link, they'll able to refresh that page and get any of the changes that you've made. So to share, you can determine who you want to have access to it by just selecting the different options here. You can determine too if you want somebody to be able to edit your document, or if it's something that you've already worked on and they're just reviewing, then you don't have to allow any kind of editing. Okay, so these are the different ways that you can share. And you can have very specific people. So if I have something that I only wanted Brian to be able to see, such as the draft of our presentation today, I could send it directly to him and he would get an email notification that it's there, or I can copy the link. So you can share from here, or you can just copy the link. Here, it's going to generate one of those ugly, gnarly URLs that we already talked about, but you can copy the link here and embed that in an email so that Brian could get it by link or by email. So there's a couple of ways that you can share that. And even when you're copying the link, you still have the ability to determine who has access. So I could just type in Brian's name and select him and determine what all I wanted to share with him. Okay. And then let's say that you are accessing a file that was already shared with you. You can go, once you have access and it's being shared with you, you can download that file here by selecting download. And then the 3 little dots are always the magic button in Microsoft. It always gives you more information. So whenever you see those 3 dots, know that there's something else that they're wanting to share with you and wanting to tell with you. So if you hover over those dots when you're in OneDrive, you're able to see a lot more options of what you're wanting to do. You can get a preview of the file, and so it'll give you a little, ooh, I didn't know it did that one. Oh, that's because that's what the file is. Duh, sorry, I put it on my, my team is laughing at me. I put in the QR codes in there in advance. So yes, so that wasn't really a preview, that was the actual file. But you can share from here as well. So you can see there's all sorts of ways for you to share. They don't want you to be limited with how you can get the information out to other people. You can also copy and download and then move your files around. So if you've gotten a bunch that need to be organized, you can have specific folders set up so that they're all succinctly in place. So I think I covered just about everything, Brian, in OneDrive. I think we're going to be jumping back to you now.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Amanda. I did want to just mention when it comes to OneDrive, because we did have a question in the chat, OneDrive external sharing has been enabled at UT Dallas now. So you will, from your OneDrive, be able to share files out to guest users. So if you have guest users that are participating in one of your teams, you'll be able to collaborate on files with them there. And if you are in your OneDrive, if you need to share a link that's usable by anyone, you'll be able to do that. The link will expire automatically in 90 days. So that's new and just in the last couple weeks available in OneDrive. I'm going to talk for a moment. If you were in our Teams Tips a couple weeks ago, we talked about Microsoft Bookings. And one of the things that we were getting a lot of questions about is folks who were trying to coordinate a meeting between multiple people and pick a good meeting time. And unfortunately, Bookings isn't really designed to do that, but we teased that there was another Microsoft product called Find Time that does allow you to do that. So if you've ever used a doodle poll, Doodle's the big one that most people know, you're probably familiar with the concepts that are around Find Time. So I'm going to attempt once again to share my screen. I'm going to just share this window, hopefully. So you'll see that what I have here is an Outlook message in my Outlook client. And if you haven't noticed, you may now see the Find Time option up here at the top for a new meeting poll. So if I click this before I add anyone to my Outlook email, it's going to tell me that I need to add some attendees first. So required attendees go on the to line and optional attendees go on the CC line. So I'm going to go ahead and add Amanda. And then Andrika here as well. And I'm actually also going to add my personal email there as well, because that's someone who's not inside of UTD. So if you needed to use this with someone who was external user, you could do that as well. So now you'll notice it's brought up some times. It does go ahead and use their availability if you have access to their calendar. So I can see that with Andrika and with Amanda, I have access to view at least whether they're free or busy, and it's going to recommend some days and times that might work well. Now here's the power of Find Time. Just because somebody's available might not mean that that's the best time to meet with that person. And you can imagine if you get to a group that's much, much larger, especially if you're dealing with deans or VPs and things like that, where they have very busy schedules, you may want to just give them some options. So I can go ahead and pick a couple of options here, and then I'll have some options for my meeting poll. I can choose to even make this a Teams meeting when a final option is chosen, and then I can click on Add to Email. It's going to add a little box here that's going to go in my email to these folks, and they're going to be able to select options. So if I go ahead and switch windows that I'm presenting here, I'm going to go ahead and show you what there we go. What this looks like. So even if you are an external user, you'll see this is a Gmail account that I have, and I went ahead and sent one of these before the meeting started. I can click on this select options, and it's going to go ahead and load the Find Time interface. This is even for folks that are not inside of UTD. Just like you might have seen in a doodle poll previously, you'll have the option to choose whether the time works for you or not. And if you prefer a specific time, you can indicate that as well here. You'll be able to see how everyone else votes, and you'll be able to, if you're an Office 365 user, you'll even be able to show your availability as well. So if you're collaborating with someone else, maybe in a different UT school, most of the other UT schools use Office 365, they're going to be able to do this right inside of Outlook. They're not going to have to log in and all that kind of good stuff. So this is a really, really great tool to help identify a meeting time that works great for everybody. And you as the organizer will then get these responses back and can schedule accordingly with your meeting. So that is Find Time. It's a really great, powerful tool, and we're excited that it's here at UTD now. Amanda?
Hey, I'm here, but my send live button is not working. Somebody send me live, please. Oh, goodness. Today has been a day of technology challenges. So thank you all for being so patient. There, now it's back, and I'm back. Okay, great. I'm going to share with you next is we had a lot of questions on what's new in Teams. How do I know what's new? So I'm going to highlight some of the things that they just recently released. And just so you know, you do have access to see some of these new things by selecting in Teams at the bottom left where I'm hovering now. You can go under Help. There's actually a section that says what's new, and they cover any new releases. Generally, they release things once a month, and it just so happens that in October and November, they've released a lot of new features for us. So I'm going to highlight some of those that I think are the most applicable to you. One thing that they recently did is a change in privacy to allow you to determine when you want your notifications to pop up. So if you go to your profile picture and you select in here, let's see here, in settings, under notifications, you can determine if you want to show your message previews. So if you get a lot of Teams chats that might be confidential or private in nature, or you're in a shared office or just shared with your kids, and there's things that they maybe shouldn't be reading, you're able to go ahead and hide that message preview. You can change your sounds. In addition, they've added so you can have the Teams built-in notification, which is probably what you all are receiving your notifications in, or if you want it to appear within your Windows notification. So it allows you a lot more power to optimize your individual choices there. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you, which I think mine is doing it right, well, it's out of office, is your actual settings. They added another option in your status messages. So you can go to your profile picture, hover right underneath it, and you'll see now a new option that says appear offline. So if you're working on a project and maybe do not disturb, people are still breaking through, or if you needed to just kind of appear away for a while, you can appear offline even while you're in and actively working in Teams. That just allows you a little bit more flexibility. And very soon, they're going to also add in for all of us a duration. I know that some of my teammates already have it. I don't, but they're going to be releasing it for all of us soon so that you could say, set do not disturb. Since I know I'm doing Teams tips for this particular hour, I could set it and it would automatically expire after that hour's time. The other thing that they recently updated, which I can't show you here because it would kick me off, but is the ease of transferring. If you need to jump on your phone for a Teams meeting and you have the Teams app downloaded, you can pull it up and click join meeting. It will transfer everything over all in your settings. Make sure you're muted when you join, so that you can pop on and off from your computer or to tablet or different device if you need to be up and on the go. So that's a nice feature that it just lets you swap back and forth without having to completely log out and log back in. The other new addition is live captioning. So I believe everybody's got this now, but when you're in a Teams meeting, not a live event, the Teams meeting, it will say the name of the speaker. When you turn on the live captions, it will say, so Amanda is talking about this, and then when Brian would speak, it would have his name. So when you're reading or following along in closed captioning, you know exactly who is speaking and what they're discussing. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that screen and pull up another one here. Just one moment. This one, perfect. Lots of jumping back and forth here. So another thing that they added is a meeting sneak peek. You should be able to hover over your calendar now and click on your meeting once, and it's going to pull up and show you those meeting details. I went ahead and created a dummy meeting just because I wanted to show. So if you're not already familiar, when you create a Teams meeting, you can check your meeting options from down below, or even they have it at the top toolbar now. So within your meeting options, and this is connected to that meeting, when you pull that up, it's going to give you a special new option that is a newfound friend for anyone doing events with a large group of people, but you can now hard mute individuals. So you can select this to make sure that when somebody comes on, they remain muted unless you give them the opportunity to unmute. So it just gives you a little bit more control over your meetings. And if you're not familiar, you can also set up who specifically has presentation access, if you want it to be specific people on that meeting so that not everybody can share their screen or not everybody can take over. You do have the ability to limit who is presenting. So that way, not everybody has the same role and the same access. So just a few call outs on those actual meeting options. Let's see. The other thing that is new is the Teams Live pop-out, which I told you today is what happened when we started, and then it just suddenly ended our meeting with you all. But now the live event, if you do live events, the event will pop out in a new window. So I actually can access my Teams platform while being in this live event. So it just gives you a lot more flexibility. Okay. I think that I know we're super close on time since we started late. So Brian, I'm going to go ahead and move to you. And if we have time, I'll talk about polling in events as well.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. I'm actually going to move us right along to report a problem since we're getting close to the top of the hour. But I want to make sure that we show report a problem because I think it's a really important part of the Teams app. So if you haven't heard about report a problem in Teams, report a problem is the best way, especially for features that are really new to Teams, like Amanda was mentioning earlier, to be able to report those directly back to Microsoft. Now, if you were part of the OIT forum, you also heard from Pool and Bot, our director of client services, about the TAP program, and Amanda, I think, is going to talk about that in just a moment. But part of the benefit of our TAP program is our ability to connect directly back with the folks at Microsoft who are developing the next version of Microsoft Teams and are continuing to invest in these features. Now, they're not going to get it right every single time necessarily, so we do have problems in Teams like any other software that we use on this campus. And with Teams, the best way to report those issues is to use what we call report a problem. And I'm going to share my screen here. Yep, thank you, Amanda. This information is on our help desk website, so you can just go to the help desk's website and type in report a problem. You'll see the two ways to get to the report a problem feature. The first is on the bottom left corner of your Teams display, and you'll see the option there. Underneath suggest a feature, you'll see report a problem. You'll click that. That actually gives you the ability to send screenshots in with the issue that you're experiencing, describe the issue that you're experiencing, and it automatically will share logs with Microsoft about what was happening in your Teams client. Now, that last part is probably the most critical, so I always like to make sure to mention that you want to report a problem immediately after it happens. Microsoft can't look back at the logs that were from before if it's been a while since the problem occurred. So don't necessarily use this to report problems that happened yesterday. You want to make sure that when you're having an issue, you use this feature right away. So I'm going to give a great example that we had right at the start of this session. We had an issue where, for whatever reason, our Teams live session ended. None of us ended it. So I went right up to my second option here, which is in a meeting experience. You can click on the three dots in the top left corner and choose to send feedback. I went ahead and did that, described the issue that I was seeing in this box that pops up. I included a screenshot, and now Microsoft has the logs of what happened, and we'll follow up with them to determine what happens there. Now, this is not an alternative to the help desk. The help desk is definitely willing to still help everybody with, Teams related issues, but especially for those pre-release features, think things like breakout sessions, issues that happen with those. We don't have any special access to be able to see what went wrong there, and Microsoft is really relying on folks like UTD to be able to help build those features more stably going forward. So report a problem is a great tool to have when you're talking about Microsoft Teams. Amanda? Oh.
I'm coming. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Brian. And I did want to take a minute just because I want to have some fun and some opportunity for you all to have some feedback too. So I'm posting in the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and open up another screen here. Get this going here. Just one second. If you haven't navigated to the chat in a minute, go ahead and take a look, because we have a fun interactive option that I would love for you all to take advantage of. And I know we're nearly out of time, but I think that we recovered fairly well considering how many challenges we had to overcome. So let me go ahead and pull up my slides too. I just posted this in our group chat too, but if you have your phone on you, or if you prefer, this is a fun opportunity. I wanted to just pose the question today in a word. This is a one-word answer, but you can answer as many times as you want to. Share your answer to the question in one word. What was the highlight of today's training? So you can go to utd.link/menti in order to complete this, but what it's going to do is it's going to create a word cloud for us all to look at in just a minute. Just kind of a fun way that you can share with us either something that was valuable to you, encouraging to you, and we would love to be able to see that and to get your feedback as well. So I know we covered a number of topics, and you all have been so patient and so gracious. So if I can ask that one last thing from you, that would be amazing. And then I was going to finish. I promised to tell the group that I just discovered recently how you can use polls in Teams. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this slideshow and pull up our last thing that we're going to cover. As you're filling out the word cloud, you can also go ahead and be able to watch this. But let me go ahead and share, because I pre-recorded this yesterday just to be sure I could have it in order and have all my thoughts come out, hopefully a little bit more seamlessly. So let's see here.
Microsoft has a really great way to
You hear it,
integrate
Brian?
polls into your Teams meeting. I'm going to share with you really quickly how you can do that. So we'll create an event and we'll call it Polling in Teams. So you do need to create the event in Microsoft Teams. Just open up a new event and go ahead and make sure you have somebody added to that event so that it'll show up on the calendar. After you create the event and send it out, open it back up using your Teams calendar. From there, you'll see that the meeting options have filled in and you'll have some options up at the top. If you click the plus button up at the top of your meeting, you can add a tab. You'll see that Forms is listed as one of the first ways to optimize your meeting. If you select Forms, it will create a new tab within that specific meeting. If you click Add, it's going to integrate that form as part of your meeting. Go ahead and click Save, and it'll pull it up and embed a new poll into your meeting. Select Create a New Poll, and you can add in specific questions that you want to ask during your meeting. So we'll go ahead and put in a question. You'll notice that it automatically defaults to pre-filled answers that you can just click to add. You can allow for people to respond with multiple answers or just have the few that you've selected. You can also choose to keep the responses anonymous so that you will not know who is responding. You can do that if you're just wanting general answers and general polling questions. However, if you're trying to use this poll for a voting system or to get specific answers from individuals, you will not want to select that button. You can also choose to share the results after voting so that people can see how they're answering, or you can keep that unchecked if you're wanting to keep the results anonymous and quiet so that you don't know how people are responding so that it will not sway an individual's response. So once you have your questions added, you can go ahead and save. This is going to show up as a little option box for you, and it'll show as a draft because the poll is not readily available yet until you start your meeting. So we'll go ahead in just a second here and click join so that you can see what it's like to join the meeting and have that polling option available to you. So you see I'm getting my join now opportunity. It's going to be connecting me into the meeting, and you'll see at the very top right a forms icon. That's what you chose and you embedded in. So we'll go ahead and select that, and you'll see that normally where your chat is, you have your question that you're asking your audience. Do you use Microsoft Form? Again, it's in green, so it's still in draft form. As the organizer and the owner of this meeting, once you select launch, it's going to automatically navigate that into a poll. And you'll see it's popped up covering my face in my screen right now. So you can answer that form. It's going to give you that option. It will pop up into everybody's feed. So as soon as you launch it and create it and make it live, everybody's going to see this and have the opportunity to respond right there. So do you ever use Microsoft Forms? Yes, of course we do. So we'll go ahead and hit submit. And then you can see, because I wanted those answers to come up automatically, you can see I've got 100% of the vote as yes, because I'm the only one on this meeting. And that will show to all of your attendees in this meeting. So you can use this to create quick polls, quick announcements, get a feel for somebody's knowledge or understanding in a class. You can use this for any type of meetings that require a vote to move forward on any type of information. So I just wanted to share that with you because I thought this was such a great, easy way to engage and include your audience. So that's how you can now use polls in Microsoft Teams.
That is so cool. Oh, that is so cool, Amanda. I have not even seen that feature in use. So that is amazing that that is something that is now available. I know a lot of folks have been asking for ways to better poll their meeting attendees. So that's great. Amanda's going to be pulling up our Menti link QR code again so that we're able to provide that feedback to us. I can't underestimate the power of that feedback. You know, we really take that feedback to heart. It's the reason we've made it to 20 Teams tips sessions, is the feedback from all of you to keep doing these and to keep finding new topics to share with you. I mean, we went an hour today, and that was just based off of feedback that you guys had for topics. So we really want to hear from you. Amanda, I think we're getting that QR code up, and we will make sure we get that to these folks as well. Perfect. I see it's coming here in just a second. Bear with us, folks. All right.
Sorry, y'all. It's coming, I promise.
Going to have that code up here in just a minute. If you can, take a few minutes before you sign off with us today. Complete this survey. You also can type that link into your browser on your computer if you need to do that. We'll make sure that that's in the chat as well. Actually, it looks like it already is in the chat, so that's great. Take a few moments to share your feedback with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all for joining. Appreciate you.